got to have a permit to be filming out here.
What law is that?
Who are you to educate me?
Well, you're giving me an order.
I didn't give you any orders.
He's enforcing policy. The policy is you guys don't like filming, but the filming doesn't, the policy doesn't trump our right to film in public. It's a First Amendment protected activity. You're gonna beat me, you're gonna tase me? Go kick rocks, go back inside, man. You come out all what's that?
You got to have a permit to video here.
Permit? Is this open to the public, right here?
Yeah, but on a government facility, you got to have a permit to be filming out here.
What law is that? What law is it?
It's part of it's the county law that you go to be on a government facility. You have to be, you cannot film on government property. You got to have a permit. Everybody that comes out from the TV stations, they have to go to the office and get a permit.
Okay, I guess I'm going to challenge you on that because that may be your policy. It's not law. I have a legal right to film in public, and they want you to enforce the policy. And policy doesn't trump my right to film in public. I'm not going into the building. I'm out here in public. It's publicly accessible. So when you tell me what you told me, you can't state a law, and I understand that because there is no law. It's a First Amendment protected activity, and that's why I'm out here. I'm out here to educate you and others that we have a right to film in public.
How you guys doing today?
Doing good.
What's your purpose out here?
Oh man, just filming.
What are you filming for?
Just to keep it for myself. I like to film nice, beautiful government buildings. Why? What's going on?
Well, usually it's a little suspicious when people start videotaping the government buildings. So
Suspicious?
What about
What's
us?
suspicious about it?
it's not normal.
It's not normal? I mean, you can't deem holding a video camera suspicious behavior. You know that, officer. And as I explained to this individual that he says we need a permit to film here, I don't need a permit. I'm out in public. I have a legal right to film. I'm not going in the building. Anything I can see from public, and this is public accessible, I can film. So he's enforcing policy. The policy is you guys don't like filming, but the filming doesn't, the policy doesn't trump our right to film in public. It's a First Amendment protected activity, and that's why I'm out here. That's exactly our purpose of being out here, is to educate you that we have a legal right to...
Me?
Huh?
Who are you to educate me?
Well, you're giving me an order.
I didn't give you any orders, first of all.
Okay, so I have a legal right to do it. Is that what you're saying? Huh? Is that what you're saying? Why don't you kick rocks, man?
I'll stand right here just like you are, right? Public property?
Yeah.
I'll stand here too.
Yeah, you're a tough guy, aren't you?
No?
Yeah, you're a tough guy. Who am I to educate you?
Who are you?
Yeah, who are you? You're a guy in a costume.
You said you wanted
You're
to
a guy in a
educate me.
costume.
I'm asking you to educate me and who you are to
No,
educate
you told me who am I to educate you. You come off
Who
all
are you?
aggressive.
I didn't come off aggressive in any way.
You can call me...
I have my hands in my pockets. I'm aggressive?
Yeah, in your tone of voice, fool.
Okay. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Good name calling.
Yeah. What you gonna do? You gonna beat me? You gonna tase me? Go kick rocks. Go back inside, man. You come out all... Who are you to educate? I was very cordial explaining the purpose of coming out here.
Now you're calling me names.
Yeah, because you ramped it up. You ramped it up, bro. Bullshit.
I'm actually sick. How am I going to raise my voice?
Just go back in and kick rocks.
Whatever you got to say, buddy.
I just said it.
You got, what's the law officer? What's your name, sir? Sheriff? What's your name?
It's Deputy Polito.
Deputy who?
Polito.
Polito. What's your name, sir?
What's your name, officer? I got a vision impairment. Say it.
Focus on the camera. Put the focus
say
on
it.
What's going on, man? Why
Say
we
it.
can't film out here?
You're not going to say it? What's your badge number?
It says right there.
What's your badge number?
My ID number is 4141.
Thank you, Officer Hardy.
Not a problem.
Have a good day, guys.
Yeah, you too.
Have a great day.
At first, the space feels open, not empty, but undecided. A public building sits quietly in the background, doing what government buildings are designed to do: exist without drama. People move through the area without friction. Nothing about the scene suggests urgency. Nothing suggests danger. Then attention arrives, not through sirens or raised voices, but through scrutiny. The kind that lingers too long. The kind that doesn't announce itself, but makes its presence felt anyway. Authority doesn't rush in. It circles. It tests. The camera changes the temperature immediately. not because it threatens safety, but because it removes control. It records without permission. It doesn't forget. It doesn't defer. And in moments like this, that alone is enough to create tension. An interaction begins that doesn't need to exist. No emergency. No disruption, no complaint from anyone passing by, just the decision to intervene because something feels out of place. And feelings, when worn with a badge, often become action. The first exchange is small, casual on the surface, but underneath it carries weight. The words are framed as routine, yet the posture isn't. There's stiffness in the stance, a challenge in the tone, the kind that doesn't ask but waits to see if it will be obeyed. This is where power quietly enters the frame. The person holding the camera doesn't move, doesn't flinch, doesn't retreat. That alone shifts the balance. Compliance is expected here, not negotiated. When it doesn't arrive, the moment stretches, and stretching moments are dangerous because authority depends on forward motion. When that motion stalls, it has to choose a direction. Backing down isn't part of the training. Escalating is always available. The conversation tightens, words become shorter, patience thins. What started as an assertion becomes a test of dominance. The space between bodies narrows, not physically, but psychologically. The camera stays steady. That steadiness matters. It denies the excuse of chaos. It denies the claim of threat. It forces the interaction to stand on its own. And that's when the tone changes. Authority stops pretending this is about rules. It becomes personal. You can hear it in the edge of the voice. You can see it in the way posture stiffens, shoulders square, feet plant. This is no longer about what's allowed. It's about who gets to decide. The person filming doesn't raise their voice. That refusal is read as defiance. Calm becomes provocation. Knowledge becomes insolence. Power doesn't like mirrors. The exchange now carries friction. Not loud, not explosive, but grinding, like two surfaces pressed together with no intention of moving apart. Each second adds heat. Others arrive, not to resolve, but to reinforce. Presence becomes pressure. Numbers become leverage. The message is clear without being spoken. This can get heavier. The environment responds accordingly. What was once an open public space begins to feel smaller. Options narrow. The freedom to simply exist here is questioned, then challenged, then subtly revoked. And yet the camera remains. That persistence changes everything. It turns a moment into a record. It transforms authority from actor into subject. Every word spoken now carries consequence beyond the present. That awareness irritates. You can feel it. The interaction stops being about behavior and starts being about control, about who bends first, about whether authority can tolerate being questioned without force. This is the critical point, because once authority feels exposed, it rarely retreats gracefully. It either asserts harder or it makes a mistake. The words exchanged now are sharper. Respect has evaporated. The boundary between professionalism and ego dissolves. What remains is raw hierarchy, and hierarchy, when challenged, often responds with humiliation before force. The scene hasn't exploded yet, but it has tilted. The ground underneath the interaction has shifted, and everyone involved feels it. From here on, nothing de-escalates on its own. The camera doesn't cause what comes next. It simply refuses to look away. From this point forward, the interaction stops drifting and starts moving with intent, not toward resolution, but toward conclusion. Authority closes ranks, voices overlap, the rhythm of the exchange accelerates, not in volume, but in pace. Statements become repetitive, not to clarify, but to assert. Repetition here isn't confusion, it's pressure. The camera holder becomes stationary in another sense now, not just physically, but procedurally. They are no longer a participant in a conversation, they are an object within it, something to be managed. That shift is subtle, but decisive. Once someone is framed as a problem, the range of acceptable outcomes shrinks rapidly. Dialogue becomes optional, compliance becomes mandatory, and anything short of it becomes justification. The language reflects this. It hardens, it loses curiosity, it gains contempt. Not shouted, but delivered with a dismissive edge that signals authority no longer feels obligated to explain itself. This is how escalation often looks before it feels like escalation. No sudden movements, no dramatic gestures, just a steady narrowing of tolerance. The presence of the camera amplifies every misstep. That's what creates friction. Authority knows this moment will outlive the encounter. That knowledge creates urgency, not to be correct, but to regain dominance before the narrative escapes control. You can sense the impatience now. the space feels watched, not by the camera, but by the people wearing authority. Their attention doesn't wander, it fixes. The camera holder's movements, words, even stillness are scrutinized for opportunity. An opening, that's when the interaction becomes unstable. Because stability depends on mutual recognition, and that recognition is gone. One side has already decided the outcome must be enforcement, not understanding. The camera captures this shift without needing to show it explicitly. It's in the pauses, in the way statements are no longer answered, only countered, in the way explanations are ignored, not rebutted. Power is no longer listening. The exchange now feels performative, not for the public, but for the uniform, for the expectation of authority being obeyed without resistance. When that expectation fails, irritation leaks out. Insults replace instruction, dismissal replaces dialogue, the professionalism that once framed the interaction peels away, and this is where risk compounds, because once respect is abandoned, restraint often follows. The scene doesn't require force to end. It never did, but now force has become one of the few remaining tools to assert control, not because it's necessary, but because it's available. The camera doesn't provoke this, it reveals it. Every second that passes without submission tightens the knot. Authority feels cornered by its own insistence. Backing away would feel like defeat. Advancing risks exposure. This is the trap, and it's self-made. The interaction edges toward its breaking point, not with speed, but with stubbornness. Neither side moves, but momentum builds anyway. A paradox only power struggles can create. What could have been dismissed becomes personal. What could have ended becomes prolonged. And what could have remained routine now carries consequence. The air feels heavier, the casualness is gone. The stakes, while never spoken aloud, are now unmistakable. Something has to give, and in encounters like this, it's rarely authority that bends first. When the interaction finally loosens, it doesn't resolve, it disperses. The tension doesn't disappear, it simply changes shape. Voices soften, but not in reconciliation, in exhaustion. In the recognition that the moment has been recorded, preserved, and cannot be erased. Authority regains composure not because it prevailed, but because it must now appear composed. The camera remains steady to the end. That steadiness becomes the final statement. No victory claimed, no concession demanded, just presence, just record. Afterward, the scene returns to something resembling normal. People move again, the building stands unchanged, the public space resumes its function, but the interaction lingers. Because moments like this don't end when people walk away, they travel. They surface later in places far removed from the concrete where they began. In reports, in reviews, in complaints, in quiet decisions made behind closed doors. The power displayed here doesn't disappear, it gets examined. The camera ensures that. What stands out isn't the argument itself, but how quickly authority defaulted to dominance when questioned. How thin the line was between routine and hostility. How little provocation it took to trigger defensiveness. This is how erosion happens, not through dramatic abuse, but through everyday encounters where control matters more than correctness, where compliance is valued over understanding, where authority is exercised reflexively, not thoughtfully. The person holding the camera doesn't need to say anything else. The footage speaks in ways words never could. It captures tone, body language, timing, the small decisions that compound into something larger, and those decisions carry weight, because authority isn't judged only by what it enforces, but by how it reacts when enforcement is unnecessary, by whether it tolerates scrutiny or resists it, by whether it sees the public as partners or as obstacles. This interaction answers those questions quietly. No arrests, no physical force, no dramatic climax. Just a moment where power revealed its priorities. That's often enough. The cost of such moments isn't immediate, it accumulates, it settles into public memory, it shapes perception, it informs trust, or the lack of it. The camera didn't create this tension, it exposed it, and exposure has consequences, not always loud, not always swift, but persistent, unavoidable, recorded. In the end, what remains isn't the argument but the imbalance, the subtle assertion that authority doesn't need to explain itself, that questioning it is suspect, that visibility is a threat. Those ideas don't vanish when the camera shuts off. They wait for the next encounter, and the next camera, and the next moment when control is tested again.